GCC countries have always closely resembled each other in terms of religion, tradition, and culture. These similarities also extended to include the need to make a living from the scarce resources available. People in the Gulf practiced farming, fishing, and shepherding in order to eke out an existence. Some set out to sea in their wooden boats to dive for pearls. Only a few became successful traders. The majority worked long hours in harsh conditions, leading their animals from place to place in search of land suitable for grazing, so that they could provide their families with the basic needs for survival.
After oil was discovered and the world became dependent on this source of energy for industrial and agricultural development, the living standards of the inhabitants of GCC countries improved significantly. Characteristic of this era are better health services, greater educational possibilities, and a fundamental change in the trends of work and living due to higher income, and living in closer proximity to major centres of construction and development.
GCC countries have always given high priority to agricultural development and diversity. The agricultural sector became among the most important areas due to its relation to humans and the widespread perception that agriculture is the cornerstone of development in GCC countries. Estimated at 4.5 million hectares, the land available for farming was no longer sufficient to produce the needs of local society in terms of food. Gulf governments have therefore made a concerted effort to expand the land available for agriculture and to increase and diversify production with the aim of achieving both food security and sufficiency.
Our plans are in a constant state of development. They are now focused on all agricultural sectors, including farming, fishing and livestock. In fact, the whole agricultural spectrum is covered by these plans. When it comes to agriculture, the emphasis was primarily placed on high-quality crops and those that are known to tolerate drought, the harsh climate, salty soil and lack of water, all of which are characteristic of the area's conditions. However, more recently, we have focused on growing a staple crop, date-producing palm trees.
This concentration on the development of agriculture in the Gulf region has led to a significant increase in the land available for agricultural activities. Farming has become more diversified than ever before, which has resulted in greater self-sufficiency and a decrease in the amount of crops and food imported.
In addition, GCC local production of grains, dates, vegetables, meat, eggs, dairy, animal fodder, fish and honey has increased to such a level that it now meets the needs of the local market and accounts for a greater percentage of the national income of member states. GCC countries have also enhanced animal husbandry through improved care and greater protection against diseases and epidemics. This had led to increasing quantity, quality, and production.
We have now achieved self-sufficiency in terms of meeting vegetable consumption, but we still need to import fruits. We've also expanded the cultivation of wheat this year, especially in the Al Batina, which was not a wheat-growing area previously. However, after conducting a lot of research, we concluded that growing wheat in Al Batina will be a successful enterprise given the size of the land and the availability of water resources.
GCC governments encourage farmers through a variety of means. These include direct aid, easy loans, guidance and advisory services, veterinary help, mechanical knowledge, and experience. Governments have also provided technical expertise, consultation, and assistance in securing water resources such as wells, water treatment facilities, water purification, and the construction of dams.
Aside from the tangible financial support offered by governments to farmers, there are other less visible ways that governments are supporting agricultural production in the area, such as encouraging time and effort to be put into agricultural activities. These come primarily in the form of advice and guidance as to the best agricultural practices that will lead to high-quality produce and the maximisation of the land available. Continuous governmental support is vital, whether on how to improve the quality of production, how to install and operate sprinklers and irrigation systems cheaply, acquiring palm trees and other saplings for half the price, or how best to acquire materials. The guidance offered by GCC governments is indispensable.
فهي يعني تشكل يعني دعم كبير جدا للمزارع بحصوله على مادة ممتازة من أيادي أمينة وكذلك يعني مواد معترف بها من قبل الدولة.
GCC countries are working towards unifying agricultural regulations and systems and approving common projects in the area of agriculture, livestock and water resources. The countries are also collaborating on securing best practices for the consumption of resources through approving a common agricultural policy, a unified policy on the rationing of water, and an overall plan for the sustainable development of water resources.
Of course, GCC countries have a common goal. They realise they're all in the same boat. They also realise that for agriculture to develop in the region, there needs to be an exchange of laws and regulations, knowledge, technical abilities and technologies in all aspects of agriculture, in order to secure optimal production levels. Similar to commercial exchange, these agreements and integration scenarios should take into consideration international agreements regulating the exchange of agricultural and livestock products. This unified approach would be of benefit to all GCC countries, especially when competing with other countries, rather than competing against one another in international markets. There are already many private sector factories here that export and import products from neighbouring Gulf countries. Canned vegetables, dates and animal fodder, for example. A further example of an integrated exchange method can be found in the exchange of livestock feed between the United Arab Emirates and the Sultanate of Oman. The United Arab Emirates and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia also exchange fodder and dates.
Unified criteria and measures have been installed to facilitate this exchange. Specialized technical committees have been set up to standardize procedures and specifications. Many laws have been made mandatory, especially those dealing with quarantine, fertilizers, soil improvers, and pesticides.
Drawing up a common policy for the management of food and agricultural activities among GCC countries is a major undertaking, as it organizes how best the food needs of society can be met. All GCC countries make every effort to secure the population's food needs by subsidizing staple items such as grain that are important to Gulf citizens. Each country also follows a unified scheme of reducing tax on certain food items so that Gulf citizens can enjoy a plentiful supply of food.
الضرائب المفروضة على مثل هذه السلع الغذائية وأصبحت موحدة الآن بين دول مجلس التعاون، وبالتالي أصبح المواطن الخليجي ينعم بخير وبوجود الغذاء بشكل في متناول يديه.
The food processing industry is given a lot of attention by GCC governments. The diversification of production is encouraged, as is the absorption of excess production. At the same time, farmers are also encouraged to produce more. Governments make sure that the necessary financial and human resources are in place, as well as machines and raw materials.
Palm trees are considered to be the backbone of agricultural production in the Sultanate of Oman. In fact, the Omanis value palm trees in the same way they value their parents. Therefore, the government has concentrated on the development of palm tree farming. It began distributing manufacturing units among smaller farmers and offers handsome financial support to date farmers, covering 50% of the cost in some instances. These units represent a shift from the old traditional simple methods of packing to a more sophisticated method that uses modern technology. The ministry hopes to be able to develop these units and to eventually cover most areas within the Sultanate as part of its next plan. We are all hoping to turn these units into sophisticated date factories operating under world-class criteria during the next 5-year plan, from 2006 to 2011.
To overcome shortages, decrease imports and achieve greater self-sufficiency, GCC governments have emphasised the need to protect farming methods through supporting private sector initiatives that are active in this field. Incentives are therefore provided for projects that contribute towards achieving food sufficiency and eliminate obstacles that hamper agricultural production. This support and encouragement has led to more protected farming initiatives for the production of vegetables and some kinds of flowers. This in turn led to increasing local production and the year-round availability of produce.
Thanks to government efforts, we've achieved a good level of self-sufficiency in many food products, such as dates, for example. There are now over 40 million palm trees in the United Arab Emirates that produce some of the finest dates in the world. We are not only self-sufficient in terms of date production, we are now exporting to other countries. We have also achieved self-sufficiency in fish, eggs, and other farm products.
As a result of applying protected farming methods, greater diversity in products was achieved. The number of greenhouses in use has grown, thereby increasing the land available for farming. Products have also become available all year round.
Until fairly recently, poultry was viewed as a secondary industry in GCC countries. However, it has been the target of a series of major production projects, with the result that it has now surpassed other meat production projects. More and more, consumers are dependent on this industry as a result of its rapid yearly growth in GCC countries. As a result of this development, the governments of these countries have turned their attention towards the establishment of agricultural and farming research centres. Here, laboratory and field experiments take place. It's hoped that this will allow GCC countries to optimise their poultry production techniques so that it too can contribute to the overall agricultural development process taking place in the region. Therefore, the Agricultural Research and Technological Development Programme has come into being as a foundational programme for the Common Agricultural Policy for the Gulf Cooperation Council.
The existence of numerous research centres are testimony to the government's emphasis on constant improvement and its desire for diversity in local agricultural production, either by developing new types of crop or by importing kinds that can tolerate the harsh climate of the Gulf, such as different palm trees, livestock feed and vegetables.
وبالتالي تعطي إنتاج ممتاز جدا. كذلك يعني من أصناف نخيل التمور المختلفة والأعلاف والخضار وبقية الأصناف. طبعا بالنسبة
Research centers are spread all over the Sultanate of Oman. We have the main agricultural research center in Al-Rumays, in the state of Barka, and we have agricultural research stations in the interior of the country, like Al-Sharqiyya and Al-Batna, as well as in Dhafar. All these stations have, of course, been established as part of the far-sighted development process instigated by Sultan Qaboos. Of course, these centers have developed year after year and have contributed greatly to the success of agricultural development in the Sultanate. These centers also implement a number of programs in partnership with the Sultan Qaboos University and other Gulf authorities and institutions throughout the countries of the Gulf Cooperation Council. There is a portfolio of common programs between us and the Sultan Qaboos University in the field of scientific research that emphasizes all matters relating to protecting crops, agricultural produce such as palm trees, the palm tree Susa and red Susa, as well as in the field of culture growing. We of course have the Checo Culture Laboratory and the Agricultural Research Station situated in the interior of the country. This center produces 30,000 saplings every year. During the previous 5-year plan, we distributed over 120,000 saplings. We also have programs for the replacement of non-productive large palm trees with ones that produce high-quality dates that meet market demand and are suitable for each area in the Sultanate.
والتسويق الزراعي وأيضا تتلائم وجودة كل صنف في كل منطقة من مناطق السلطنة.
The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has taken a series of successful steps in the development of its agriculture. The land available for agriculture has increased, and poultry and livestock production have achieved high surpluses.
Previously, agriculture and crop growing in Saudi Arabia was done using traditional and conventional methods. That was until specialized national centers conducted ambitious research projects that resulted in innovative methods that have not been employed before.
Farms have begun growing in size and number in the kingdom. Electronically controlled greenhouses adjust the temperature and humidity of the atmosphere, so crops are able to grow all year round. This means that crops that previously could not have been grown in Saudi Arabia are now flourishing.
Saudi Arabia has achieved self-sufficiency in food and has become an exporter of wheat, dates, vegetables, eggs, poultry, and fish.
The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia also prides itself on having some of the largest and most advanced cattle farms in the region, equipped with state-of-the-art technology. Dairy production plays an important role in the kingdom's exports. Meanwhile, for much of history, the Omani people have worked in agriculture. They have always discovered newer and better farming methods until it became the main source of income for extended periods of time. They also dug wells and built dams to maximize the amount of water available for irrigation.
Though the main reason for the emphasis on agriculture is securing the daily food needs of humans, many benefits have also been realized as a result of growing some fruits, vegetables, and other different kinds of trees. The most notable aspect is being able to produce many forms of medication, particularly those used to treat digestive disorders as well as skin and eye diseases.
Due to the importance of agriculture as a natural resource, the Sultanate of Oman has paid particular attention to growing all kinds of fruit in order to take advantage of its highly fertile soil and the diversity of climate conditions. The growing of fruits was encouraged through the utilization of the latest production technology and irrigation methods. Today, Oman has achieved self-sufficiency in some fruits and exports fruits to a number of countries around the world.
Agriculture, shepherding and fishing were main sources of income in the state of Kuwait prior to the discovery of oil. Afterwards, however, agricultural productivity decreased because people moved away from farming to work in oil-related industries that paid more.
As part of development efforts, however, the state supported agriculture as a source of national income. A section for agriculture was established in 1935, and in 1968 it became known as the Department of Agriculture. Since then, it has provided agricultural services to farmers, including research, and has facilitated the acquisition of state-of-the-art equipment for production. The department aims at increasing the contribution of agriculture to the country's economy through increased and diversified national income. At a later stage, the department was further expanded to become the Public Authority for Agriculture and Fisheries.
Kuwait placed high levels of emphasis on the development of agriculture and farming practices. Many forms of encouragement are offered to farmers, such as easy loans and access to information that help expand both the quantity and quality of their produce.
Similarly, the United Arab Emirates has fully supported the agricultural sector. It has aimed to turn it into a major contributor to the country's economy and to meet the needs of the Emirati people in terms of food and medicine. The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries was set up and in turn established 4 agricultural directorates that were tasked with the development of agriculture and fisheries. A series of rules and plans have been drawn up designed to produce a constant source of food production to encourage investment in farming that will increase local production and decrease reliance on imported foodstuffs.
Farming in the Kingdom of Bahrain was conducted in a conventional way until the discovery of oil. This facilitated investment in agriculture. Greenhouses are now used so that vegetables can be grown throughout the year. Soil-free cultivation has also proved effective in the production of vegetables. Agriculture has always played a focal role in the economy of Bahrain alongside pearl diving. The government has therefore opted to develop the agriculture and fishing sectors and has offered farmers and fishermen subsidies, generous incentives and easy loans.
As a result of dependence on traditional methods, the state of Qatar has had modest levels of agricultural production. However, with the advent of oil and the subsequent era of development, agricultural systems were updated. Today, production has increased as a result of utilizing protected farming methods and plastic covering methods for the protection of crops. Production has since become year-round, and the number and diversity of farms has increased, hence effectively contributing to the local market. Qatar has chosen agriculture and fisheries to be a major contributor to the country's national income, as well as establishing a more favorable balance between locally produced food and imported food in order to meet the needs of the citizens.
Agriculture, from the dawn of history, has always been one of humanity's main concerns. This is clearly reflected in the decisions made by the GCC authorities. Despite the wealth that oil has generated for these nations, they have wasted no opportunity in developing agriculture, believing rightly that it is of central importance to mankind.